The voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It is, what they say, last day of the year, the first day almost on the eve of the beginning of a new and promising year ahead. It's Talk Today for this Monday edition, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. We're open to have our good friends from the National Drug Council for a couple of minutes, and MLA Bernie Bush, the Deputy Speaker of the House, says he'll come in and join us about 1 o'clock or so. Let's see what happens. Want to flip a coin? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. You want to be the first caller? There's no prize except, hey, you got to be the first one to say, you know, I saw Susan today on Talk Today. 949-8037. Or you can call us on the toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255. If you want to WhatsApp, I'll check that as well, 925-3261. If you want to send us an email, hey, I think even with our glasses we can still read it. Talk Today at candw.ky. Mind you, it doesn't come in instantaneously. I don't know why. Maybe it's going with a Rembro, but even she was faster than that at times. Anyway, it's a talk show. It's live. Give us a call. Share your thoughts with us. Despite all that transpired, I hope you had a safe, enjoyable, relaxing, wonderful time with your families as you celebrated and were festive, as you relaxed and were pensive. And you might have even had a bit of a stress, not just because of the bills that need to be paid or the work that you had to do, but just because of what you fear lies ahead and all that may have come before. But nonetheless, as best as we can, with little apprehension but with great excitement, we look forward to what may be just around the corner. It is New Year's Eve. Doesn't feel that way. Must honestly confess to you, it doesn't feel that way. It's not because you're not eating and drinking and not partaking of the libation and the food. It just doesn't feel that way. And why is that? So I had a chance to chat with a fellow who, sometimes I believe is helpful when he reminds me that he's seen a few decades under his belt. But because of the youthful enthusiasm, the very positive outlook that he has, but they're very real, nothing contrived or fake, no pretense, kind of people that you like to be around, because they tell you like how it is. He says, part of the problem is lack of leadership across the board. Part of the problem is in the homes. Fathers are not fathers, mothers are not mothers. Children can't be children anymore. You can't go outside and play because, well, it doesn't seem to be the order of the day. You can't discipline. And he says, unfortunately, even that word gets overplayed. Maybe I'll tell you more about what he says, but why don't we hear from you? Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Sterling Dwayne.
How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm not too badly. I got a little problem with my wife, as you know, but
yes, sir. It's
all up to God with that.
Yeah, man, well, our prayers with you. Speaking of good leaders, man, what a better person to talk to first than you. How are you, man? I am so glad to hear a voice like yours. Huh?
Yeah, I'm glad to be on. I was just going to cook some conchs, and I heard you come on, and I said, let me call and wish the entire Cayman Islands and the world at large happy and prosperous and healthy New Year.
Amen to that, man.
And also a sober one. You know, I know you got these guys coming on from the National Drug Council. I tried to get on there the other day when you had those other two guys on, but I think they were from the Hope. Oh, you weren't there. There was somebody else.
Yeah, that was Thursday. Huh? Yeah.
Maybe that's why I couldn't get on, because anyway, it's really good to be alive, and I thank God every day for all the blessings that He has given me over the years.
Amen.
And He has also helped me to deal with all the problems that I've had and still come out on top. So I'm grateful to Him, and I'm grateful to all the prayers that I have received from my wife. You know, she's in health city there with a big problem, but all I can do is leave it to God, and whatever the outcome I accept fully, you know, because it's His will. So you take care, and again, well, let me too say this: a special Happy New Year to all the seafarers. As you know, I'm associated with that non-profit organization. So you guys take care, and the National Drug Council, when they come on, I know they'll have a lot of good things to say, and I'm 100% behind them. So you all take care, have a happy, prosperous, and a healthy, sober 2019.
Amen.
All the very best.
All the very best, sir. And thank you for sharing it. And maybe that should be the tone, not just to end this year, but to start the year. People know Mr. Denniston, and he's a man that not only speaks candidly, very openly, very willingly shares his insight, his counsel, and as he did, his blessings and prayers and petitions for, the very best that lies ahead. But we can influence that, and make no mistake. Yes, I am positive, but I am very real. And sometimes those close to me will tell you the things I say. They go, wow. And if you say that publicly, they may look at you differently, because people no longer want the truth about things. I was in public earlier, and I say it because it's an example I've seen at home, and I'm glad for it. My father would take a piece of bread and some water, and before he puts it in his mouth, he'll say what I've now, thankfully come to understand is a grace, a little prayer. I used to joke very early on, maybe it wasn't funny to my mother. I would say, well, he's praying that this food doesn't hurt him, But she's probably the best cook that there ever has been and ever will be. But it's a sense of gratitude, as Mr. Denniston identified. It doesn't matter what. Even in a time like this, as he shared publicly he's facing, he's still grateful. And that's the wonderful, wonderful thing about so many of us. We're grateful. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Green, and a very pleasant, peaceful, happy, and prosperous New Year.
Amen. And to you, sir, to you and yours as well.
Caymanians and to all the folks living here, and to the world in general. And I'm thankful to hear my good friend, Mr. Denniston there. I've been friends for 46 years now, and his dear wife know very well, and I heard of her illness from his brother, Mr. Buzzer, a great friend. Everybody knows him. Buzzer knows him, but brother, but Garth is his real name.
Yes,
just
sir.
like my real name isn't Mickey, but everybody knows me as Mickey.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and we pray for her from I heard about it, and what's happening. Trust that the good Lord will pull her out of this. I'm glad he gave that a special acknowledgement to the seafarers.
Yes,
my
sir.
father is one, a famous one, captain of shipwright. My father's name, of course, is on the Goldfields Register. He is one of the 4 carpenters on her. And I have a copy of her register. It was given to me by the society there a while ago. Yeah, it's sad to see what has happened to her. My dear mother, to see her before she sank. and she was so saddened she had to cry. Because she knew the sacrifices my father made when they were built her, and so forth. And the many other sacrifices he did. 50 odd years on the sea. I just like to say that, we hope definitely for everyone to have a peaceful, blessed, prosperous, and happy New Year. And I just hope, I've never made a New Year's resolution in my life. I have no intention of ever making one, because every day really is a new year, because a year from that date is a new year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a special day when it's the start of the calendar year. I just trust that the good Lord will give the courage to our elected representatives to carry on, because I think this will be a very crucial year in modern Cayman's history.
The courage and the wisdom, huh?
No wisdom, but the courage.
Yes, sir.
Courage, that most important quality, as Mr. Churchill, that great man, once said, that courage is the first of all human qualities, because it guarantees all the others. The others will not come without courage, neither wisdom nor none. So we need courage to do certain things and do what's right for Caymanian people. They'll need courage, the type of courage that we had 50 years ago here. We know things are very, very different, as I've said so many times before on your show.
Yes, sir.
That you know what I'm talking about, that it's a very, very, very different Cayman. And I just hope most of the older folks like myself will learn to come to grips with it, as you said about that man with the discipline and all that. That's one of the major things that we have lost in the schools and the children. And we know many of the reasons why. There are terrible distractions. Television is number one, and the cell phone and all that goes along the contraption that goes. It's a terrible distraction for children, and mind-altering things there. And young parents are having to deal with that. I'm happy that I have no young children to raise, because I don't know how I would try to function in that system now, but I have all my respect, and all our elected representatives trying so hard. They get cursed every day and blamed for everything, but they're our friends before they're elected, and once they're elected, we curse them all the while, or a lot of us. I can't say we, because I understand the predicament that they're in. This is a crown colony, so you cannot really carry out what you really thought you would like to carry out when you were campaigning. That's a cold, hard hit below the belt when you get into the house. You realize that the system. And of course, I don't see us ever becoming an independent country, because of the one word I just said, courage. We don't have that type of courage, and we don't have any real economy and intrinsic one to back up that move. So we have to etch out whatever we can with.
But if I may, sir, as I listen to you, and that's the great thing of people like you who share with us and remind us not only of the courage but the need to pray for wisdom and the like. With our elected members, I think that many of us agree with you that they have a difficult task. They get blamed for everything. Maybe when they're campaigning, maybe they're deliberate and misleading. Maybe they themselves have been misled into believing what their powers are. But if I can ask you, this notion that, I'm not a constitutional scholar by any means, but we've been hearing the word recently. Some of us probably were familiar with it prior. The UK's constitution being unwritten, operating under this thing they call convention. Would it be that sometimes our politicians have very, perhaps almost in a cloak and dagger way, operated where through convention these things become entrenched, and now they are no proposition in that we have this devolved power for internal matters when it comes to financial, for example. Could that be the initial posturing towards independence?
Yes, but that's you have to understand. I'm frank and realistic. I'm not optimistic, and I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. That's a very nebulous type of. It is a powerful economy. Money is powerful, and money controls things.
Mm-hmm.
But money knows no real allegiance to anywhere or anyone. And when people become tremendously wealthy and high-earning people, we must not fool ourselves into thinking that they have any special. I'm throwing my neck out on the chopping block to say this. Any special allegiance to Cayman. So those who have built up and are making a lot of money out of this, the financial world, they may not really have. They may appear to do so because it's nice to do so. You can do a lot of charities. We have hundreds of charities here, so many I can't even think of them. And some are very, very good and essential. Some I wonder about and I question. Yeah. So we can't build a society that's centered around charity and the financial world. We really need to think about things like, as I've always thought about, and my cousin Jim Borden, a famous politician, he often said that to me, make you wish we'd start to concentrate and have little factories, manufacturing something. You know, there are lots of things we could do. We could assemble things like they do in Ireland, where they assemble. That's what comes to my mind all the while, where they assemble electronic components for big car makers all over, the Japanese, the Koreans, because women are very adept, and all women, you don't want anything more adept with the straw work. It takes a lot of very adept and very nimble fingers work, and they could easily learn to do that. You don't have to go back to any university to learn electronics. You can assemble those things, all the guidance and instructions. This is just one aspect of the things that I'm talking about. There are many things we could do here. Assembling for the ordinary person, we have got to face the facts. We can't go and educate everybody into the financial world or into the IT world. It will not happen. It cannot happen. That's just reality. So we have to concentrate on those great workers who are not really any overly educated people, might not even have graduated from high school, who can do a lot and who know a lot.
Yes,
and
sir.
we need to concentrate on that. When we keep talking about education, that's fine, and it's great we need to educate our people. But we have to think about those that are just ordinary people, which is a majority.
Well, you know, as you shared, thank you very much, sir. And again, you know, the best for 2019 as we talk to you some more. I'm reminded you'd like to talk, but we got to take a break. Susan was spinning my ear and telling me that. Yes, I do enjoy a good conversation, and Mr. Vicker provides a great, great opportunity. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Let's pause quickly, take a short break. We're hoping to have our friends from the National Council to join us for a bit, tell us about their popular pledge. If they don't, we'll remind you. MLA Bernie Bush, he's also serves as Deputy Speaker, supposed to join us at 1 o'clock. Hey, flip a coin. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
I can tell you this.
Williams Production presents the Crab Family in Cayman, Monday, December 31st at the Lions Center in support of Adasi. Kickoff time is at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $25 and $35 at the gate. Purchase your tickets now at the Christian Enlightenment Center and Funky Dance. It's all brought to you by the Office of the Premier, Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport, Value Med Pharmacy, Cayman First, Uncle Clem's, Hides and Son, Praise 87.9 FM, Tony's Toys, and Radio Cayman. The Crab Family in the Cayman Islands, Monday, December 31st at the Lions Center.
Sometimes it takes a mountain. Sometimes a troubled sea.
I didn't mean to hurt her. Work was tough. We're struggling financially. I had a few drinks to relax, but then the argument started. It was a mistake to hit her. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a wife. I can't afford to feed my family. This was a hard lesson to learn. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Stop to slap. Stop to cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign, proudly sponsored by Foster's IGA. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
Who's the leader in Sandpans?
It's Foster's.
Ring in the new year with Foster's IGA. Cook a delicious New Year's roast or have us prepare your whole dinner. Is cooking on your list of New Year's resolutions? Let Tanya's Kitchen help you out. And with great savings from Foster's IGA, this may just be the one resolution you actually keep. Visit tanyaskitchen.ky for recipes and inspiration. From all of us at Foster's IGA, Priced Right, and Bay Market, thanks for shopping with us in 2018.
At Foster's Food Fair IGA, we care.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio K-Man for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of K-Man's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio K-Man News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Happy New Year to you. It is open line. As you go to our phones, welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Happy New Year to you too.
Happy New Year, Mom. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you have someone in the studio there with you?
No, our calendar calls for some of our friends from the National Drug Council to join us. Hey, who knows? And but until now, I'm reminded, I don't get paid here because I look good. The show goes on, so it's open line.
You talking about anything today? Or
yes, Mom. We can talk about anybody too. Did you see what that girl was wearing? No, I just kidding. I don't.
No.
Yes, Mom.
I can't help but agree with him to 100% what he just did there. And
Yes,
that's
Mom.
a beautiful way of ending the year, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But, Sterling, I just want to shout out a thank you to the few people who helped me with my my food drive for the holidays.
Yes, Mom.
I'd like to thank Foster's Food Fair IGA, 100% and more.
Mm-hmm.
Lillian, Sharon, Dr. Lawrence from UCCI, and Dane from Fire Station. They made it possible, and I greatly appreciate it. And like I told, I think it's Mr. Paul, who was on your station some weeks ago in regards to being organized to be able to do the, whatever charity you want to do, go and see him and blah, 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 and get set up.
Mm-hmm.
You remember me calling in that
Yes,
day?
Mom. Yes, Mom.
Okay. Well, I will be going to see him hopefully January, hopefully no later than February.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Sterling, I want to say that I have called the station numbers of times in regards to security at our airport.
Mm-hmm.
And a few things happened recently. I didn't hear anything till afterwards. And people is asking me what took place at the airport. Honest to God, I don't know anything, Sterling. No more than what they talked about after the effect of what took place up there. Sterling, the security at the airport is terrible. Sterling, you got visitors coming in and going back to either get a piece of luggage that they did come up with, or come back to receive luggage after a day or the afternoon when it didn't come in on the flight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are being let inside of into the arrival section to go for their luggage. I've been saying that needs to be stopped. And no one is listening. Sterling, you had someone who trying to board a plane twice to the day, trying to board that flight 2 times to that day. Apparently they didn't make it. And then there was a rumor going around that someone went to the tower announcing a flight to come down when there was no space for them to land on the airport. Darling, we are taking things in Cayman for granted. We need to tighten our belts and protect this island because we have no idea who is watching us and this beautiful place we call the Cayman Island.
Mm-hmm.
Sterling, when they started remodeling the airport, they took away the upside stores and so forth, and was nothing up there to get. They got Allen Place a mile away from us, and by the time to get down there, you got 4 taxis already went around you, and so forth, so forth. And I am one that always walk with water. I always have water in my car. And I've been giving away water at that airport now for almost 4 years to dispatchers and taxi drivers. And some of the taxi guys said to me one day, you know something, we need to replenish this water back. Take this dollar. And I was reported to CIAA. My own Caymanian report me to CIAA in regard that I am selling water at the airport. And I contacted them back and told them that I was not selling no water. I give away water. My guys, man and woman, I call everybody guys, they were the one who offered to replenish the water, knowing that I bring water every day, and I never one day tell them they owe me $1 or tell them one day I ain't giving you all no more water. That is not me. Anyhow, I respond back to CIA and told them I didn't appreciate them upsetting me on a Sunday evening when I work extremely hard at the airport in regards to a bottle of water. And they will never stop me from giving my water away at that airport when my guys up there need water. And when I say guys, I mean ladies and guys. I have given it to the dispatchers and down the line, and I've been accused. So I say that to say this. Instead of them trying to make sure that airport is secure, they're going to pull me down for selling water, and I must stop immediately. I told them I wasn't selling no water, and I got proof of that. You understand? But my own Caymanian, and that's why we can't make it. What am I going to gain going to sell a bottle of water at the airport to probably make a $5 when I got 2 jobs? I don't need to sell no water to buy a lunch or buy a gallon of gas. Never went to the airport one day empty yet. Never went to the airport one day hungry. If I make anything at the airport, it's appreciated. If I don't make, I say, you know what? The week got 7 days in it. It's not every day going to be a bad day. You know what I mean? And the hours that I put in up there, it has to compare with my school hours. And when I'm not at school, I put more hours in.
If I can ask you, and don't lose your train of thought, but just what is it that seems that you know? I don't want to use the phrase because it's so derogatory, but crabs in a barrel mentality. Why is it that we seem to have that? We pull each other down instead of helping out each other. You know.
That's what McKeever said when he had a taxi meet some time ago. He said the taxi drivers like a bunch of crabs in a basket. And let me tell you something, Mr. McKeever Bush. If you were nearby today, I will shake your hand because you're not telling no lie. I don't take anything from nobody in the taxi business. I try to live good with everybody. But I don't take nobody home with me, and nobody don't owe me anything, and I don't owe anybody anything. But the fact remains, we can't even work together. We're just watching what each other is doing and saying, oh, she's going wrong point. She going east end. That is so-and-so amount of money. You come back, you go to 7 miles, they be calculating your money. Who's calculating theirs? I ain't got time for that, Sterling. I got better things to do. You know, in Sterling, when you're ready, let me go tell me because
No, you go ahead, man. Susan's in control.
Because Sterling, up at the airport, we had problems with restrooms up there. And instead of them trying to fix the restrooms and make sure we had water to drink and a snack to purchase up there, now these guys come up there with these snacks and water, but it runs out for the hours that's being spent up there. You understand? We're up in the hot, broiling sun. We got no shelter whatsoever. And, stay in the car and run your air condition. That is mashing up our air condition. And we're burning excess gas to keep our air condition rolling. You understand? If you go and stand in a certain area, they're watching you as if you're the blasted criminal. There was a gentleman on the airport a couple of weeks ago up there with it. He got this horseshoe that came to taxi drivers. He came there and dismantled his music system. Him and another friend dismantled it on CIAA grounds, airport grounds, fixed it and left. Not one security came down there and tell him, hey, this can't work. You ain't got no securities walking that ground. You see the truck driving here and there, but things are happening. And they're not stopping and asking no question. They're just driving in an air-conditioned van. I don't know how much of a security they are on the ground out of front, or they're more inside on the ground so the plane come in. I don't know. You understand? But security is security, and that airport is lack of security. And today, if CIA tell me that they don't want me back at the airport, that is fine with me too. But I tell you one thing, when I get through, they're not going to like it. I'm not threatening nobody on this radio. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But I'm going to speak what I see because we are not being treated fairly as a taxi driver at airport. Public transport need to come in and rewrap this taxi business. Now the hotels are coming up with their own shuttle buses, and every time you turn around, public transport is giving a taxi license to some individual. And then when a Caymanian go to get a taxi license, no more for the rest of the year. It's closed off. But yet, you hear another couple of months, we got 40 coming out. We got 30 coming out. I don't care about anybody trying to make $1. But don't tell my Caymanians that even though they claw me down at the airport and elsewhere, I don't give a, you know what you talk about, I don't give a rat. But we still need to survive on this island because we have absolutely no way to go.
So,
we can go, but we got to come back.
What's the justification? Because I heard it before that allegedly, Caymanians apply for, say, a taxi license, as you shared, and they're told no more being issued this year. But others seem to have, been able to get through.
You know where they're getting through? The higher authorities is telling them to give it to them. My two children went looking license at some point in time. They was refused. But when you look around, you can find people that got a good job. I said I tax the business. If you're a Caymanian by paper and you're making over $3,000 a month, you shouldn't be driving taxi. Give it to the one who's making 15 or who's making a zero. And then again, our Caymanians, they are cowards. They will not stand up in their country. They need to stand up. They don't have to come on and be violent, but they need to stand up and say, you know what, I ain't stopping until I get a job in this department or my taxi license or what the case may be. Prove to them that you can do the job. You know, one time when I went to Cable, I was for a job. You know what they asked on that job? If I did this and I did that and blah, blah, on the job. I said, listen to me, I am willing to loan. I am willing to loan. If I don't loan within my probation time, they'll send me home. I jumped from register to register, watching everybody what it was doing.
Yep.
You know?
Yes, well.
But Sterling, I just want to say that I just hope the next year be a better year, and we the people of this island need to ship up or ship out and go live somewhere else where they don't have to worry about making $1, go make someone to take care of them. Because the few that's here that needs to survive, we need work. We need work.
All right. Well, let's work together. All right. Hey, thank you, Mom.
Thank you on that.
All right. Blessings to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a safe one. Let's pause quickly, take a short break. We'll come back. Let's take some more calls. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
I didn't mean to hurt her. Work was tough. We're struggling financially. I had a few drinks to relax, but then the argument started. It was a mistake to hit her. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a wife. I can't afford to feed my family. This was a hard lesson to learn. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
It's more than what we do. It's who we are. We were your official bank of the quincentennial celebrations in 2003. We were your Bank of the Year 4 times. We were voted as the inaugural top employer in 2010. We were the inaugural Business of the Year awardee in 2017. Who are we? We are Cayman National, your local bank, proudly serving you for over 40 years. It's because of you that our journey continues.
I am worried about my employees' health insurance. Are there any companies out there that I can rely on for great coverage, affordable payments, and who will work to make the switch as easy as possible? Or am I asking for too much?
You sound like you need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
This is too important. Today's the day I am switching to Fidelity Health.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
This Health Flash is brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Over 65 million people around the world have moderate or severe COPD, a family of diseases that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Cleveland Clinic, Florida offers a wide range of management and treatment options for COPD, including programs focused on education, medication, smoking cessation, and pulmonary rehabilitation. A team of experts is ready to review your symptoms and test results to develop a comprehensive treatment plan. For more information, visit clevelandclinicflorida.org.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And in the studio, if you're online, subscribe to our this live stream on YouTube, you'll see that good company I have in here of MLA and Deputy Speaker Mr. Bernie Bush. And as we get into our discussion, we do have a caller online as well, right? So you want to say let's go to the phones? All right. Good afternoon. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Good afternoon, Sterling. And I want to wish you all Happy New Year when it comes, and also to Mr. Bush. And I'm behind Miss Jan 100%. First of all, I'd like to say I would like for the MLAs to really get down on their knees and pray for this island, because as they can see, we're not heading in a very good direction. We're always going in the wrong direction, and I don't know why the MLAs can't see what's happening to this island. First of all, I would hope and pray that the corruption stops with the big officials in this island, because it starts from them. And the thing is, the Caymanians are hurting. They are hurting very bad, and it needs to stop from the higher up to the lowest one. It needs to stop. Right now, Caymanians are out there that needs jobs. They are replacing them with expats. Nothing about giving an expat a job, but we have to start with our Caymanians first. And I'm telling you, this year, they better do better, because let me tell you something, the worst is yet to come. So I am leaving you with all these words. So hoping and pray that the MLAs will really get down on their knees and forgive those people that they have done wrong to, and ask them to guide this little island in the best possible way they can. And to you, you all have a good New Year. Thank you.
Amen. And to you as well. Happy New Year.
To you.
Mr. Bush, again, public level, welcome and special blessings to you and the family, and as the call is shared, to all of our leadership, especially those who elected, the courage, the wisdom, the knowledge, understanding, the compassion, but also the ethos to move us forward, with integrity.
What? I don't know who the young lady is, but first, let me say thank you for inviting me over and having me over, and to the listening public, I hope you all had a very peaceful and happy and joyous Christmas. But in the last week and a half, I've been out giving out turkeys and hams. And what you heard the young lady said, I've heard that in a lot of places. She's not the only one saying that. So, and if you only heard one or two people with something, then you can say maybe it's just affecting one or two. But when I can easily say I've heard over 40 or 50 people with the same thing that she's saying, almost the same thing, must be something. There's never smoke without fire. And there's one thing I've found out. I've stood out and I've heard some of my other politicians say that things are so good in this island. I really don't know which island they're talking about. But that's not what the people are feeling. And right now, we do need a lot of prayer and a lot of soul searching from a lot of people who are supposed to be leaders, not only in the MLAs, but you can talk about the civil service and those who protect those in the civil service that are corrupt and doing wrong. And you can talk about the private sector, who a lot of things that I've learned over the past year, and things are being done. And even though I was coming here today when you said, let's talk about the bright things and the positive things. You cannot do nothing but to answer what the young lady said. And there are so much people, they're saying, oh, they made 2 people redundant. But yet, now, you have 8 of us doing the work of 10 people. And there's more work coming in than even before when we had 12 or 10 of us. There's 8 of us doing the work for 10 people. And our salaries, and we know the money that's being made. We know how much is things. We're not fools. And they're making more money, but we're getting more work and less pay. This is another thing. And they'll make posts redundant. I even know of a broker here in Cayman who promoted a lady and cut her salary and told her, says, look, no one else is going to pay you this kind of money anywhere else you go if you decide to leave this job. Their exact words to her. That's taking advantage. To me, that's corporate bullying. And these are the things that we as MLAs must address. We must protect our people from these vultures. And this idea about trickle-down economics, I've yet to hear very few people getting anything trickled down to them out there in the community. I don't know what other MLAs are finding, but I know what I'm finding. And what that young lady said is very true. Next year is not going to be as pretty a year as we would like it to be if we don't get our act together.
Our first caller, Mr. Tibbetts, reference, and I only use him because I think he is a genuine person, sincere, Mr. Dennison, right? And I'd
like to also wish they're having a medical thing in their family, to wish him and his family prayers, and I've been there, I know what it feels like, and I do wish them the best.
Yeah. Amen to that. Looking at our country, talk about leadership, whether it's the politically elected, whether it's the appointed, or there's those in the private sector who influence. It doesn't have to only be, in the financial sector, but that's important. Or we see in the churches, schools, leadership across the board, in our homes. The lack of integrity, the lack of, that ethos to do
the right thing.
The right thing.
And a lot of times the right thing is the easiest and the simplest thing, That's what I've found. Yeah. Doing the right thing is a lot of times the easiest and the simplest thing. I was just talking to a lady this morning. I took my best friend who had emergency at Shetty up to get his checkup. He came out on the 23rd and he went back to his checkup. And I'm sitting beside one of the most affluent Caymanian couples in this country. And the wife of the gentleman, who's well known in this country, said, and I quote, "The corruption is unbelievable, and they don't really necessarily hide it anymore." And this is something that I've said a long time. Self-interest and special interest is what has been killing us over the past 20 years in this country, and it's gotten to a peak now where it's unbelievable. Special interest and self-interest.
Wow. We condemned the publisher for his comments, vitriolic, malicious, whatever you want to say was the motivation.
Which publisher?
But over the Compost some time back. But if it's true, it's true, right? If corruption is endemic, systemic, if it's par for the course, then, as you shared, people who do evil and no longer are ashamed to even hide it.
Well, when I have conversations, I tend not to try to include non-entities. And that's just my opinion of that newspaper.
Okay.
When I was standing there fighting for a case, which I can't say much on it right now because it's in Grand Court, they wrote something about myself. And it seems that the minute anyone stands up for Caymanians, especially if it happens to be an indigenous Caymanian, that newspaper try to find fault with you. And they try to make you seem as if you're xenophobic or something. When, with me, all I'm looking is justice and fairness for my people. Please, and I make no apologies. And it seems as this thing has developed over the last 10 to 15 years in Cayman, the minute you open your mouth to defend the Caymanian or speak something for Caymanians, people want to tear you down. When I stood on the radio and I said that being Caymanian is not a qualification, a lot of people, no one said anything. It was yes, everything, that's right. Okay, but the minute I said no longer will be being Caucasian, being Canadian or English is a qualification, all of a sudden I'm a bad man. You got to be fair both ways.
True enough.
You have to be fair. If it's good for us Caymanians that we have to be qualified, it should also be good that someone coming here should be qualified. And after the end of the day, it doesn't say England Islands, Canadian Islands, Jamaica Islands. No, it says the Cayman Islands. Plain and simple. And once again, I say it, I will make no apologies the minute I see something wrong, or I see we're being held to a different standard, or injustice is going on. It doesn't matter which side of the floor I sit on or stand on in that LA. Doesn't matter which team I'm with, or I am going to speak out.
All right. Let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, MLA Bernie Bush continues to share his insight and counsel and wisdom. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A 21-year-old West Bay man faces murder and gun charges in court today. William Isaac Ebanks has been charged in the homicide of 29-year-old Darrington Ebanks on Christmas Day in West Bay. In international news, China's factory activity shrank in December for the first time in more than 2 years. An official survey showed today, intensifying pressure on Beijing to reverse an economic slowdown as it enters trade talks with the Trump administration. The Purchasing Managers Index of the National Bureau of Statistics and an industry group, the China Federation of Logistics and Purchasing, fell to 49.4 from November's 50.0 on a 100-point scale. Any reading below 50 shows that activity is contracting. The December figure was the lowest since February 2016 and the first drop since July 2016. U.S. stocks were headed lower in morning trading today after an early rally fueled by hopes for progress in resolving trade frictions between the U.S. and China faded. Gains in healthcare companies outweighed losses in internet companies, energy stocks, and elsewhere in the market. The benchmark S&P 500 was on track for its worst showing in a decade after a volatile year on Wall Street. And Snoop Dogg, Sting, and Christina Aguilera will welcome 2019 in a packed Times Square today, along with revelers from around the world to the traditional crystal ball drop, fireworks, and a blizzard of confetti. Spectators usually assemble in early afternoon for the extravaganza, as has been the case for years. The celebration will take place under tight security, with partygoers checked for weapons and then herded into pens ringed by metal barricades, where they wait for the stroke of midnight. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you so much to join us. It is New Year's Eve as we reflect and hopefully very, very graciously and excitedly look forward to 2019. In the studio, MLA and Deputy Speaker Bernie Bush is our guest. When I trust that you and your family had a wonderful, not just safe, but enjoyable, relaxing Christmas. Hope we get to do what I was hoping to have done more of, eat a whole lot of good food.
Well, the doctors have me on a not to eat so much regime.
Yeah, but, I'm still on a seafood diet.
See it and eat it.
Yeah, there we go.
But you know what was what I kind of missed, what was so great about my Christmas personally, God blessed us that my son and his wife was able to come home from Dubai and bring the baby. It was only 4 days, but that's better than no days at all. Seeing someone's living, when you're living in Florida, you kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
But when you're living 3.5 and 12.5, 16 hours away by plane, that's a long distance.
Yeah.
It's a day and a half of traveling. And so to have the grandbaby home was awesome. But I was sitting there on Christmas Day with her, and I was thinking, I wonder if anyone will ever experience, and I can speak, and I think you probably wouldn't have to remember this. I worked in my father's store at the 4-Way in West Bay.
But you were there in a way. I don't know if you did any work.
Oh, I did a lot of work. Those are different.
I just teasing.
Those were different days. But you'd walk into the store. What would you smell?
Well, I remember candies, boy.
Apples and grapes. This time of the year.
But this time of year, yeah.
Yeah, apples and grapes from mid-November go down to the New Year.
But not to interrupt you. Remember the jars,
the glass jars lined up with different candies.
But how come? I could smell them, even though they were in the jars. You couldn't stick your hand in it. But I could smell them, even before you walked in the door. I don't know about anybody else.
A lot of people, especially children.
Yeah, okay.
Children could smell them, don't worry. It's like sharks smelling of blood from 3 miles away.
Gee, thanks.
But I remember that. And I was sitting there with my granddaughter, and she was eating some June plums.
Mm.
And I'm saying to myself, I wonder if this younger generation will ever know the joy that we had. We never had so many gifts.
Mm.
We had, if you stop and look back, think we had our children now get from their grandparents, they get from the aunties, they've got 10, 11 or 12 gifts. I remember getting 2 or 3, but they were all gifts that it didn't matter, they were gifts.
Mm.
But what I always remembered was the apples and the grapes, the scent. And another thing that I was thinking about, backing sand, the fact that I live so close. You'd take out the dirty sand and dump that back into the water for it to be washed out. And even that, you looked at how the old people, how they had the system. You pile up the dirty sand in your yard, you put it in a bucket, you carry it down, you dump, and don't dump it up on the clean sand. You dump it in the water, out in the thing. And then you get up a load, you take it back up. And then there'd be other children doing the same thing. We play hide and seek. And those are the things that I did for some reason this Christmas. Maybe it's because my granddaughter was here with me, but those were the things that went through my mind, and it made me even feel better when I wasn't able to go to certain families that needed certain things and carry things. It made you feel even better to be able to, you're helping someone, maybe not as much as you wish you would or you could, but there are so many different people to help. You can only do so much. But it felt good. It really felt good. And I do hope that other people had the joy of being able to help someone or to give to someone, because that was a good feeling on my part.
And as you shared, I think people are starting to appreciate more and more now that our families are so spread out over the world. Your son, a day and a half travel, right? And not just the people who come and live and work amongst us, but our own people who now, because of work or other reasons, are no longer in Florida or Texas, as was tradition. They're in
far away places. Someone said to me, man, he said his son is so far away that even when he Skypes him, he can't see him in real time. That's a good one.
Yeah, I had a lot. But that's the reality. And so when he comes home, 4 days, like you said, is better than no days. Right?
Correct.
Are we appreciative, you think, as a people, of what that means, that physical time, that need to be that example, to value the real things? When I say this, some people can always say, you're a little too nostalgic, you're a little too, sentimental. But those are the important things, not the gifts as you shared, the meaningful relationships that you have with your friends and your family, and those memories that you're building, those legacies that you're leaving.
Yes, and at the end of the day, they've done. I forgot which magazine it was, showed that after doing years of research, the 4 places in the world, there were 4 places in the world where people lived to be older than most people, than the rest of the world. And what they had in those 4 places that was the same, people went out to friends' homes, they had social gatherings, they played dominoes, they sat down out in parks and talked, and they all ate a more vegetarian type of diet. There was no whole heap of meat and those things. But what was the social side of it was all 4 areas was that social side, going over to our friends' house, other friends being there. And another thing we Caymanians have to learn to do is let go of stuff that are not necessary. Someone yourself had an argument 10 years ago and you're still holding on to it. Let it go. God, we have too much stress on our place besides adding stuff like that that's not necessary. But we have to do something these days that's more important than ever. The fact is, someone said to me one time, what you say usually when you're on the radio is a lot of us sit on the back porches, but we don't really say you're brave. I'm not brave. It doesn't take anything for me to see. I mean, I also have people, I repeat what I hear people say. But I really and truly feel that right now, if you look at all the nationalities are here, and this is something that I admire them for. You have the Barbados Association. You have the Filipino Association. You have the Spanish Association. You have the Jamaica Association. Is there a Caymanian one? No. And I do think that those, and maybe it's human nature, that they are going to look out for their own to feel more comfortable. And on the other hand, there are also some other good people. I went to one home. It's a gentleman, he's a policeman. He's from Barbados. His wife is from Barbados. His son was born here. And I went into his house for the Christmas. They invited me in. And he told me that he had his permanent residence and that he was applying for his thing. But what impressed me is when I went in, sitting right there in his living room was a big Cayman coat of arms. And then he had the coat of arms for his own country on the thing close beside, but not up above it or nothing, right below it. That showed he was showing respect to the country that he's been living in and he intends to live in. And he wasn't neglecting his own where he was born. And that really impressed me, and I commented on it. And they showed me his bedroom. There's a Cayman flag standing in his bedroom. That says a lot. And those are the type of individuals, and even in his work, people have always commented to me on him and how he handles situations. But then you see, he came here as a policeman. He didn't come here and then someone had to try to make him and turn him from a gas station, a pump attendant, into a policeman. He's been a career policeman, and where he came from, he was a good policeman. So that's transferred over. And these are the things that right now we as Caymanians better start to stick together. We better start to look out for our own. And that case that's in court that I am not letting go of, when you have a foreigner that's not qualified, and you have a Caymanian that's qualified, and the powers that be give the job to a foreigner who's not qualified, who scored low and everything, then for the appeals tribunal to say yes, the Caymanian should get a job, and then for the powers to be to still turn around and take this to the Grand Court, take a private law firm, use our money to pay a private law firm to fight against a Caymanian for a foreigner. Those things better start to stop. Because believe you me, every time I've gone in the public, people are getting more and more of the belly full of this. And it's like what one retired civil service said. She said to me, I had 35 years in the civil service. They used to do this on the hand. They never used to be so blatant with it. It's unbelievable. But I'm going to give you a quick story of something that happened. I was in Jamaica. I was assigned to the Jamaica Civil Aviation thing for a few months by the civil aviation. I was working here, so experience.
So you're training though. Yeah.
When I came back, they had something at the Lion Center. I think it was the Trade Winds, if I remember correctly. And a gentleman from Bordentown, Mr. Harwell McCoy, who also studied in Jamaica, University of the West Indies, I think. Harwell came up to me, put his arm around, because his older brother was one of my supervisors. He said, did you just pay attention to football and women while you were there, or did you pay attention to other things? I said, no. My father told me to read the newspapers. My father told me to listen to talk shows, and I did. He says, so your eyes have been opened a little bit. I says, yes, sir. He says, I'm going to give another bit of wisdom now. Take a look at Cayman now as you see it. He says, at that time he had said 1999, but I think it was 96 or 97 when Hong Kong went back over to the Chinese. He says the year, in 1999, when Hong Kong goes back to the Chinese, I want you to pay attention to the Cayman Islands, and we will be more colonial then than we are now. I said, that's impossible. I said, our minds will have been opened, and we will be more educated, and we will be more proud of being a Caymanian. We'll be more proud of whatever ethnicity we have, whether we're brown, whether we're red, or whatever. I said, Caymanians cannot be this way in 1999. It's impossible. And I thought back to that. And you know, Mr. McCoy was right. We are more colonialized now, but it's because of the powers that be. You keep us in the dark. You keep the education system that has failed. I hear people talking about our education system is failing. I'm sorry, it hasn't failed. It isn't failing. It has failed us. And praise be to God that Miss Julie had enough intestinal fortitude to take and give some power, a lot of powers to a new school board, and headed by Dan Scott, and some very able people on that, people like Darrell Rankin and them, who will not play games, who I have a lot of faith in. And I see that board being the savior of this country. God has to save us first, but on the education side, there's a lot of things there that it's too much people have come in and built their own little kingdoms. And you know, if we got our education system right, 3/4 of our problems would go away.
If not more.
If not more. Thank you. And right now, we have to, Caymanians, getting back to the point I was trying to get to, we have to stick together. If we're better off, try to separate the needy from the greedy, which is something I've had to learn to do. And when you see the needy, help them. Help your fellow Caymanians. It is the best thing in the world, and it's a good feeling. It is.
What is that thing that's standing in our way when it comes to helping out each other? Ms. John called and said, we tear down each other. Right? You see a Caymanian getting ahead, and the crabs in a barrel mentality.
But when I hear that crab in a barrel mentality, I always tell people, you ever put crabs in a hot pot? What happens? They don't try to crawl out? It's also a bit of that as well. It's not always people just necessarily, but I can take talk from Miss John. You know why? It's not just now that Miss John started to do stuff.
Yeah.
And people hear about it on the radio. And if you want to see Miss John, meet her son Victor.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of his mother. In fact, he's more calmer than her, but decent, well-rounded young man that she's done a first-class job of raising.
Train up a child, no?
Yes, train up a child, and they really should grow, and you got to give her, and that's why people there are a lot of people out here only doing things just for publicity's sake. I mean, I learned about the publicity's sake years ago. There was a little young girl, you probably remember her, she had a heart thing, and it went on for quite a few years, having all these heart surgeries. I was sitting with Jimmy Powell, Mr. Jimmy Powell, in fact, it should be Sir Jimmy Powell, and Jimmy, the mother came up and Jimmy said, when you're heading off? She says, we're heading off on Monday. This was it. Jimmy says, Jimmy wrote a check for $3,000. Said, cash this before so you can have it for when you go away next week. And he says, the tickets are already at Cayman Airways. I took care of those already. About a week later, they're sitting in the compass with a photograph of one of the big three in this country, handing the mother and the child a check, a big check drop, $500. But yet, there's Jim and said, no publicity, nothing. And that is, I think, is the awesome thing. And what has happened, I don't know. But I do know that we have developed the ways of the big countries that have come here. And it's not us anymore. It's not we. It's about I. It's about me. And we've also developed something that I think we have to wake up on right away. the Hader Barker situation is a perfect example. Every Caymanian should be out there upset about that. Because you give them one, they'll get someplace else. But because this is not done in South Sound, because it was not done in North Side or East End, it's being done in West Bay, how many of those other people will come down and stand up with you? Unless it's on my toes, unless it's on my doorstep, I say nothing, I do nothing.
Well, I appreciate you raising that issue with Barkers because, and I'll make this a point just like I will with, Bottomanu. It doesn't matter how you spell it, it's how you say it, right? It's Barkers. It's not Barkers.
It's Barkers. Simple.
Barkers. Simple as that, right? We can argue over the spelling. We can argue over the spelling of Bottomanu, but it's Bottomanu.
It's like Bosween Bay.
Yeah, it's Bosween Bay. There you go.
We stick with it.
There you go, Mr. Bernie. With the Barkers issue, young people, I'm talking about, from early 20s into just outside their teens, right? Only because that's a high school age I feel they're starting to understand some of the academics to the extent of the impact, right? Younger middle schoolers do as well. I want to ask you about that, but Ms. Susan's going to field us a call. All right, let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Thank you. Happy New Year. Happy
New Year to you, and I hope you had a good Christmas.
I did, amen, and you as well?
Yes, sir. I'm blessed. We all are blessed.
Amen to that.
And I hope Mr. Bernie had a good Christmas as well.
Thank you very much, Ma'am. I did. Thank you very much. Hope the same to you, Ma'am.
Yes. Thank you. Now, you mind me saying, Dwayne, and Mr. Bernie, do you mind me saying something on behalf of Miss Jan?
No, I think pause. No, go right ahead. Yeah,
feel free.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say to whoever did that to her at that airport was wrong in doing so. Miss Jan is an honest person.
Amen.
She calls me sometimes to help her distribute bags of things for the people that is sleeping in our cabanas and hammocks and stuff on the beach. Mr. Bernie would know.
Yes.
But you can't help everybody. And you got to keep that in your mind. You can try. But Caymanians are not helping Caymanians. They see one Caymanian get a good education and has traveled and has worked overseas, including our representatives. They keep them down. They keep us down. I know. My son is one of them. They keep him without a job that he can do, that he has trained for, Mr. Bernie. He's now working at the Ritz and the rest of the hotels here. They're not training Caymanians. That should be in the law.
It is, ma'am. It is, but we don't enforce it. We do not. This is the problem, ma'am. You just hit the nail right on the head, and I'm glad you said it and not myself or Sterling. It is in the law. They are supposed to if we go in there, but they do not. We have so much laws, and we do not enforce them.
Yes, we got the laws crawling out of our ears. The thing is, it should be a limit put on these work permits. I don't care for whom, whether it's managers, general managers. If you're coming in this island and a Caymanian is worthwhile to be trained, they want to be trained, you have to train them. A Caymanian should be understudying these people, and then when that permit is up, bam, bam, you're going back home, including the lawyers that are pouring in here and are overpaid and help no one. Well, I can't say helps no one. Some do. But I can say for Jan, Thompson, she's an honest, hard-working Caymanian. And to know that the Caymanian would do something like they did, but yet somebody tried to get to a plane, 2 attempts last week or week before, and all the security they have up there, they couldn't do anything about it. What is really, really going on here, Bernie? What is really going on here? Another thing, I want to say this. West Bay has a person sleeping on the porch of Mr. Dwayne Ebanks, a lady. She's educated, but she has a mental problem. Make no mistake, we have the money to get these people off the streets. We don't have to keep them like zombies. Dr. Lockhart didn't say that. Dr. Lockhart said to teach them how to get back into society and make sure that they take whatever medication. Should we have that kind of thing? A human being staying on somebody's porch with no sanitary facilities, and yet we call ourselves a Christian community. I was driving through Powell Smith Drive the other day, and I know that was not so long clean up. Then I turned around and I drove through it again. They couldn't have looked at Powell Smith Drive. Mr. Bernie, you can do so. Mr. Dwayne, you can do so and see that Shirlene is telling the truth. It's a total dump. I thought I was up to the dump when I was driving through that place. And it was a clean road before when Miss Beulah Smith, which was one of my teachers, was alive, and many more that used to live in that area. We have to get together as West Bayers and clean that area up. I don't care who is responsible for that area, but it have to be cleaned up because it's elderly people living there as well. Not only elderly, but we have children, we have everything. Now, I want to wish every one of you and Radio Cayman staff a very good holiday and a good year, and let us try to be together like how we used to be many, many years ago in my growing up days, where we helped each other, not begrudge each other. And I wish that the representatives for our island would see that Caymanians come first, far as employment is concerned, those that are would like to work and want to work and have the education, and it's wasted. Let us see that happens, not a few chosen ones from ones that put X by their name and they know it and can't even do the job, because that's what we're doing now. That's exactly what we're doing now. A good holiday and a blessed drive careful, every one of you out there. Drive careful and remember, you're responsible once you get behind that wheel. Thank you very much. God bless.
God bless, man. Thank you too. Mr. Murray, respectfully, let's just pause and we come back, we'll talk about that. Ask you about Barkas as well. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At KFC, we believe you don't have to share a last name to be a family. Whether it's an office party, holiday fete, or family gathering, enjoy KFC's fresh hand-breaded finger-lickin' good chicken. The KFC Festive Feast includes 10 pieces of original recipe or spicy chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, tasty coleslaw, and warm biscuits. KFC's holiday catering menu includes buckets of hot wings, sweet chili wings, or chicken tenders. KFC, it's finger-lickin' good.
Stay connected and enjoy your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Make Christmas memories great with the best phones at amazing holiday prices. Get the Samsung Galaxy A8 from $43.25 a month or the S9 from $70.75 a month from Flow. Sign up for Flow Quad Play to share up to 50 gigs of data and 5,000 calling minutes. It's amazing value and great gifts for loved ones or yourself. Plus, plenty of chances to win Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Radio K-Man's Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio. Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop,
dance hall, urban gospel, Latin hits,
reggae, and soca. The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of
Savannah Pharmacy, just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
You need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier. Payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Call your friends. Make a plan.
Make New Year's something to celebrate.
Let the Purple Ribbon Bus be your chauffeur. Ride free this New Year's Eve from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Be smart and get home safe.
This message is brought to you by the National Drug Council, EK Online, Jake Scott, Foster's, Caribbean Engineering, RCIPS, and Radio K-Man.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Happy New Year to you. And in the studio, the good company of MLA and Deputy Speaker, Mr. Bernie Bush, sits with us. And I keep saying this, we should never take for granted this unfettered access that we have to elected members of our legislative assembly. Whether we are, in our minds an independent nation, we are certainly an independent people. We like to think and act, we like to believe and, go on the premise that what our ancestors and forefathers did relative to our politics was to demonstrate a resolve and a resilience and a willingness to grab the bull by the horns and not rely on somebody else. We did it for ourselves. Not that we weren't willing to accept help or include others. It was the fact that we didn't sit down and, wait for something to happen. So hopefully the country does not, abuse the access that we have, but doesn't, ignore the importance of it. And for you and others who come here and to the other talk shows, of course we prefer when you're here at Radio K-Man, and share with us. It's an opportunity to engage and to hopefully look. As the caller was sharing, but equally, and only because today, this morning before I came in, as students get ready to go back to, university or into the new school year here on our schools here, this issue of Bacchus comes up. Almost all the conversations since it broke when I was off. But Bernie, what are we going to do about it? And first off, is there anything?
I think we have to march and show people how serious it is. That's what I think we have to do. Yeah. The first meeting that was arranged in West Bay, Laura and myself, Laura came, I had a meeting with the family first, and it was on a holiday. I think they called me Monday morning. It was on a holiday morning at 8 o'clock, 8:30. We met underneath the grape trees and we went through it. What they expected from me as their representative and so forth. I was quite honored that they had called me. But I'd already received that night. I'd received texts from 4 or 5 people, and all people who have good jobs, people that we would want to say prominent. To me, everyone's prominent, but these are people who are able to push some weight behind it. And those are sometimes the ones that get to me, because the position they're in, they can do a lot more than little people like me, and I can go there. But the problem here in Cayman is, even when you're right, and you as a MLA open your mouth, and it's, to me, this is not political. But the minute I opened my mouth, it became political.
Mm.
You understand where I'm coming from?
I hear you.
Because I grew up on the Haida Barcas with Chucky Perry and Austin Ebanks, babysitting me as the youngest member of the Boys Brigade group. Then you had to go out and get your own conch, your own lobster. I was to stay, take care of the fire, get the fire going, get the pot going, and they'd go catch and come back. Miss Lilias told them, take care of my baby. So,
and they did, huh?
Yeah. So, but that's how we were as a community. I'm from out on the bay. Yeah. They're from down Bosun Bay, and these guys looked at me as I was their little brother. And then, but when these people are very upset about it, very worried about it, and when you look at the amount of size, and both Mr. Paul Rivers and Mr. Mervyn Smith at the meeting in Town Hall, you must give credit where credit is. These men laid out some things to the public. And I looked around the Town Hall that night. There was not enough of us there. And the thing about it is, what made me feel good, it actually brought some of the indigenous community, with those others who, I hate to use the word, but paper Caymanians, I don't really like to use the word, but those who have become Caymanians. There was a good mixture there. And who was being the most vocal was the ones who had come and got their papers. And there were some young people. There's one little young girl that really stood out to me. She said that her grandmother, after church every Sunday, would take her to the Haida Barker sitting up there for half an hour or hour before they'd go home for their lunch. So she held on to that thought and to think that they were going to do this. And the beach is going to be blocked. The access to how we can walk the whole length of it if you want, because you're going to have to walk across this big old pier that they want to put up there. And Ken Hyde said something that's very true. And this is another thing that Caymanians have got to do their homework. Dart never forced anyone to sell him the land, you know. And there were some people who went to him asking to sell their land. Okay? But the whole thing is now, the government has money in the fund. We have over $10 million. We can look at what that land was sold for, buy it back, very simple, and make it into a real park. Not by word of mouth, or put it into the house, put it into park, pass it, that no one can touch it. Leave it as it is. But like I said, a lot of things will come to fruition. I was kind of blindsided by a question on another radio. Are you the West Bay MLA that has business going up there? Or part of a business going up there? And I was shocked. And I think there had to be some reason why that host on that radio show asked me that. And every time I ask him, who are you talking about? He says, you will see. You will see. So I do hope when this comes to fruition that West Bayers pay attention. And I've noticed, like what people said, they haven't heard any other one say anything. They have heard no one else, no other politician say anything about this except myself. And I will say this to the other representatives from other areas. You all could be next.
This issue with Barkers, you look at the subsequent meeting in the church hall.
Yeah, I was away off the island, yeah.
And look at, again, the cross-section of the community. People who are, not just West Bayers who camped there, had the privilege of interviewing 2 young students. And I trust that the community, as they listen to those 2 youngsters, that they see in them a desire to think beyond today and the economics, the environmental or the social impact. But this issue, there were a couple of questions that were asked of me repeatedly by students. One is, why are decisions like this, the application for a coastal works license, going to a political elected body like cabinet and not some other mechanism? Now, some gave examples of other jurisdictions, even in Florida, where these decisions are in an open format and is not a secretive thing that they perceive to be transparent within cabinet. I don't know whether you can shed some light, but I couldn't give any more. Coastal work license, go to cabinet.
Yeah, we have to change the law.
Okay. The rest within what,
And I think there has to be a balance. I mean, you can't be. You want progress, and you want progress, but not at the expense of certain things. You have to be aligned someplace, how much you're willing to give away. And the question that an older man asked me the other day, he says, I am now 74 years old. He said, this is not about me anymore, it's about my grandchildren. And he said, the progress that they claim is here. How much has it benefited those of us who were here from before? He says, Mr. Bush, go away and ask yourself that question. Come back to me. He was a very calm gentleman, wasn't anyway angry or nothing like that. He says, I want you to do some homework. He says, go out and look and find out. All these things that they're doing, how much is it benefiting? He says, of course, there are some of us who have not grabbed what is there available for us. I remember a friend of mine went to Northwood, and he was there for a few years, and he came out with about 4 or 5 more qualifications when he went in. And he says, this is a joke. He said, the Caymanians up there not doing these courses. All the foreigners are jumping on these courses. Well, I got to thinking, and I said, I intend to talk to the Attorney General and say to him, listen, can we get time off? What can we do to push? They say you can't take a horse to the water and make it drink. But we must find some way to get those of us who do not realize the importance or feel that it's and this is all what I found with some people, is a waste of time. I heard one young man tell me, look, my sister went off, spent 5 years overseas, freezing up in the middle United States, come back here, she's running up and down for the last 2 years looking at a job, she doesn't want to start at the top, she just wants a decent job, and so where she's working now, in a restaurant, and has a degree in management and marketing or whatever, have a master's degree. And no matter where you put in, but when you look inside those positions of foreigners, they say you don't have the experience. Why can't you, Mr. Burney, why can't you all force them to make my sister go in there, to give her the experience, and in 2 years' time, and he says, but you all are useless. He says, you all couldn't even make them put a Caymanian in the helicopter, and we paid for that. So, but you hear the conversation where the young man is going.
Yeah.
He's not fooled.
Yeah.
And his thing is, why should I kill myself? Like what you're telling me. You tell me you'll pay for me to go, because every year I sponsor about 9 or 10 children through UCCI. And I told him, I'll pay for your books. I'll pay for you to go into the school. I can't pay you to go, but I'll pay for you everything. All you have to do is use your time. And I says, at times, I will even pick you up and carry you once I have time. I do it with other kids, I'll do it with you. And that's when he threw it in my chest. What can I say to a young man that comes to those arguments? His sister went off. His father sold a piece of land.
To fund the education.
To fund the education.
And the opportunity when she comes back.
Comes back. And she's working in a restaurant. Nothing indicative of what her degree says. But yet, then he says, and you all can't force the hand of these people hiring to give her the experience? He says, all those people that we're hired, never had no experience before.
Yeah.
They never had the experience before. They come here, and someone said to me, I met a young lady who was working at one of the big firms here, and she was hired because of her international experience. And I asked her where she worked before. She said in London. But yet, before she came here, she had never dealt with the cross-section of clients like they did until she came here. So, in other words, what we have to do is send our Caymanians down to London, make them sit there in the office, look out the window for a month or two, then they come back home, they have international experience.
I had a similar conversation. The question was asked by somebody in the financial sector. If you're a Canadian working in Canada, someone from the UK working in London, do you have international experience? And if you consider that, do you have offshore experience? So to your point, we need to give our people the opportunity. They have to take themselves of it. Or maybe continue speaking, whether about Marcus or other issues. MLA and Deputy Speaker Bernie Bush is here. But as you can see, Susan's over there and she's in charge. And we got to take a quick little break. When we come back, let's talk about Baka some more if you want. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Got a few minutes left and I give my news.
This Health Flash is brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Over 65 million people around the world have moderate or severe COPD, a family of diseases that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Cleveland Clinic, Florida offers a wide range of management and treatment options for COPD, including programs focused on education, medication, smoking cessation, and pulmonary rehabilitation. A team of experts is ready to review your symptoms and test results to develop a comprehensive treatment plan. For more information, visit clevelandclinicflorida.org.
I can tell you
Williams Production presents the Crab Family in Cayman, Monday, December 31st at the Lion Center in support of Adasi. Kickoff time is at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $25 and $35 at the gate. Purchase your tickets now at the Christian Enlightenment Center and Funky Dance. It's all brought to you by the Office of the Premier, Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport, Value Med Pharmacy, Cayman First, Uncle Clem's, Hides and Son, Praise 87.9 FM, Tony's Toys, and Radio Cayman. The Crab Family in the Cayman Islands, Monday, December 31st at the Lion Center.
sometimes it takes a mountain. Sometimes a troubled sea.
You need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier. Payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Eats Cafe in the Fall Centre on the West Bay Road is a sponsor of Radio Cayman's CI Retro Talk Today special Cayman Islands historical and cultural program series. Eats Cafe, celebrating 30 years of being Cayman's #1 breakfast location, offering you your best choice for a hearty, healthy, delicious breakfast. Eats Cafe, friendly service, pocketbook-friendly prices, and a pleasant surrounding. Eats Cafe, 30 years in Cayman.
Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for the 7 a.m. news, brought to you by Cayman National Bank, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Having a party at the beach or a team building exercise at the park? Preserving your cabana is easy with the Public Works Department online booking system. Create your account and use the online calendar to pick your desired date and facility. You can even pick the cabana you want to use. Look for your confirmation email, print it off, and bring it with you as proof of reservation. Enjoying our natural environment has never been so easy. Visit www.eservices.gov.ky to book your cabana today.
The only bad workout is the one that never happened.
Make 2019 the year you commit to fitness. Let King Sports Center put you on the right track with their Get Fit 2019 sale from December 15th to January 15th. 2-for-1 Powerhouse Gym memberships for $600 or a single membership for $325. And call them to find out how you can take an additional $100 off this sale price. 946-5464 or visit kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs. Remember, fit is not a destination. It is a way of life.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. In the studio, MLA Deputy Speaker Mr. Bernie Bush sits with us for a few minutes. A couple of quick calls. Susan tells us, Bernie, then we can, talk amongst ourselves. Good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, and good afternoon, Bernie.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Not as good as you, but I'm good, and God is good.
Amen, man. All the time,
Yeah, man. I enjoying the conversation today. And I think Bernie's on the right track. You got to stop letting people come here and do what they want to do. I'll give you an example. I was reading. I downloaded all kinds of stuff on my computer, and sometimes I just go back and recap some of the stuff. And like full last night, I was looking at the computer, and there was an article in there about the Rotary Club. And I'm bringing this to the fore so that people can see that people who come here are all about themselves. Most of them don't care about Cayman. This guy was a Rotarian who became president of the Rotary, an Irish one. Can't remember his name. But he made a statement about the politicians wanting to control the work permit thing and making complaints about how they can do business and all that. Now, you see what I'm saying? We have let every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and the longer it goes on, the more difficult it's going to be to rectify it. But people come in here and they open up a business, people like Michael Ryan and them guys that come here, the stuff that they did to us, and they come in here. And I want to give you an example. You heard any more about the Ryan Wood project? The thing that was going to golf course and all that was going to happen up in East End? You heard any more about that? You see, this is what happens as we mesmerized when people come here and they got $2 in their pocket. Some of them don't have it. They're fronting for somebody. And they come in here and we buy everything they tell us. That's what's destroying Cayman. And when you talk about young people who have degrees and all kinds of things, can't find a job, you tell me there's something wrong with that, gentlemen? We must stand up. You see what them Easterners done the other day when that contractor went up there and not a Easterner was employed? They took things into their own hand. We need to stop listening to the politicians. Half of them don't care about us.
Yeah, man.
This is what we got to do. We got to take things in our hands if we can do anything here, because these people see how weak we are in that sense, and they take advantage of us. And when you hear the stuff, they sit here and then they got status and all that kind of thing. I don't know what the answer is, my friend, but I ask God every day, every night, to give us some vision to what we must do, because I see disaster coming ahead for this island if we don't stop. We don't need all these work permits. People get the work permits because they can take advantage of these people. They bring them in here. If they don't pay them, they know they're not going to run it back. The other thing, Bernie, you should look into. Because I'm afraid that we're going to have a recession in the United States, and we're going to feel the effect. And all of these work permit holders we better have something the way they can send them back to wherever they come from. And I think what we have to do is this. When they come in here, you make sure every employer who brings in a work permit holder to have an account or something that government controls, that when they ready to leave, government don't have to go back to these people and they tell you broke, they don't have the money to give them, and then you got to go to court and all that kind of thing. Make them pay up front the cost of repatriation to these places where they come from. And when things happen that these people have to leave, we have the money to do it. If you look into that, Bernie, that would be the best thing you could do, because I foresee if we get a recession, what's going to happen in Cayman with all these expatriates from every place in the world, and we're going to be stuck with them.
All right. Hey, thanks, man.
And another thing I've learned from my people out there is that when they're working in these establishments and times get slow, do you know who's given less work hours? The Caymanians.
And justification for that? Are we even told? Mr. Bernie, we've got one more call. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You want to talk today?
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Sterling and Bernie.
Happy New Year, man. Sir. How are you?
See me anymore.
You too, sir.
Like, you mean to tell me that Cayman International? Now, I'm from overseas, and the first job that I ever had, or to get experience in Grand Cayman, when I go back home, I can say, well, yeah, I have international experience. I worked in Cayman Islands, and them people just grab them up and say, okay, well, your sister manager, vice versa. I can't believe it. Huh?
Yep.
I can't believe it. I mean, we're not international. If I'm a Caymanian and I'm working here in Grand Cayman, I have to go away to get experience to learn the job, to be a lawyer or assistant manager or computer analyst or whatever the hell it may be, or waiter. I mean, then they go back to their country. They accept it. Yeah, when you work in Grand Cayman, okay, well, that's international. I have to go away to the United States. That's not right. You come back here like what your guys are saying, and if you can't get a job, can't even get a job. Even if they were working overseas, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they were working overseas and you come back and you come on, yeah, then we make you know that is left on fire, right? That's left on fire thrown in the garbage like one woman said a couple weeks ago. Which I knew that from the people knew that from years ago. Long story short, Bernie, you got a bad situation here in West Bay, you know. Very bad situation with the drivers, you know. You see, you got some of those young Cayman drivers as well doing it, following these other expats with their nasty driving, you know. You see, if you're riding a bicycle or walking, that's not going to give you no chance now to and he won't make that left turn. He's not going to give you no chance to go cross and then make that behind you, you know. He will try to get in front of you while you're riding your bicycle and then turn in front of you.
And you got to break your neck trying to avoid hitting him.
You praying that he don't hit you.
True.
I mean, I'm what you're saying, but they even go around in the kitchen at night. You got one brake light or no lights. I seen him drive a couple minutes ago. Up to last night, rather. No lights on burning. No lights on. One tail light, one headlight. No headlights or no lights at all. But and flying sometime and I'm burning. Right here on Hell Road, you know. Fountain Road, you know.
It's like they forgot. It's like they forgot how poor Tira get killed down there. So all now we don't hear nothing about that.
Man, I tell you, man. Look here, you go, man. Pleasant. That's 27th Avenue up in Miami. You understand me? That's 27th up in Miami. You know, like you know how they move down them places, the I-95 thing. You go, my place. You gotta be careful, boss. So I want you to try to get something organized with that.
Okay, partner. I'll speak to the NRA.
Hey, thanks, man.
Thank you very much for calling, my brother.
Very sure, sir. Blessings, Leo. All right, one maybe final call. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Happy holidays to Bernie and Sterling and the whole crew.
Happy holidays to you, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, and Bernie, I have an issue that I want to talk about, but was that gentleman just talking about the traffic by Badamanu Plaza?
He's saying he named out a few different places. He didn't. So that would be one of them. We know right there has been a conjunction function for the last couple of years, and it gets worse as it gets near to holiday season and holidays and weekends and those things. So I think they're well aware of that as well.
Badamanu Plaza, that spot there, you see where that little barber shop is? People coming in and out there, people coming in and out the main road, people pulling in and out across from the liquor store. Let me tell you something, somebody soon get killed there more than... That is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous spot. But anyway, that's not really what I called about. But what that guy is going on about is totally true, and it's a shame. You know, if foreigners lived on the corner in that area, that traffic wouldn't be like that. The government would be there putting down street lights and signs and all kind of stuff. So it don't matter if we kill a few Caymanian drunkards on the side of the road that hang out on that corner. But I'm going to tell you one thing: the government needs to do something about that corner, because there's already been one woman run over there. Okay?
Yes.
That's a bad spot. Okay, listen to me now. You remember some years ago, we had some people camping out on Barker's Beach with little tiny children that were homeless.
Yes,
Remember
ma'am.
that?
All too well.
Yeah. I could call their name, but I won't call their name because I love them dearly, and I don't need to put their name on air, right?
Correct.
It was me and some friends of mine that drew the attention to officials and helped them get sorted out, right?
Correct.
So listen to me now. I know of a couple right now that the government social services is paying their rent for them up in, I think it's down or somewhere up that way, okay? They have 2 little babies, right? One cannot even walk, and the other one is like 4. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
The people that they were renting for didn't give them any notice, and they're on the street today, tonight. Those people have nowhere to go with those children. Okay? And it's holidays, and the rest of us are all sleeping in our beds, comfy and nice. So Cayman is coming to the point now where even known by social services, these people have been put on the street. You know what social services told them? Find a place to rent and they will pay it. Well, you know what? They can't find anywhere to rent because, number one, it's the wrong time of year to be kicked out. It's the wrong time of year to look for rental, and nobody wants to rent to anybody with 2 little babies. Okay? So we have 2 people tonight, 2 adult people who will be sleeping on the street with 2 babies tonight. I am going to cost you less, and I'm going to buy a tent, and I'm going to pitch that frigging tent on my lawn in my yard, and we need help. These people need help. So, Bernie,
Nikki,
I know you're a good guy.
Could you do me a favor, and before you come off, Miss Susan will get your phone number so I can call you as I finish here, ma'am?
Bernie, these people need help, because when you see me going to cost you less, and you see me, Nicole Eldemeyer, buy a tent for these people, because I could almost cry right now, right? Because nobody else on this island cares that there's 2 people sleeping on the street with babies.
Nikki, give Susan your number. Bernie was asking, he doesn't have it as he expected, so give us your number, please, so he can call you right after.
Please, give Miss Susan the phone number for me, Nikki.
Yeah. Bernie, this is it, man, you know.
But Sterling, I still coach at my primary school.
Yeah.
I still drop children home. I have to give thanks to 2 companies, Uncle Clem's and Foster's. The discounts they give me on chicken. There's one little child referred to me as a chicken man because I coached her big sister, but I have 2 more younger children, and she's one of the younger ones. It's nothing for me to drop off a case of chicken, 30-pound bag, 20-pound bag of rice, the snacks, I think 4 or 5 little boxes.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten to a place where those people give me a decent discount. I have so many people. You drop children home. There's no electricity. And I had a mother tell me I had to choose between electricity and water.
Mm-hmm.
She said I thought the water was more important. And there's a lot of people, so I'm telling you. And some people come to you and said, I need this. But you help so much people, you stretch thin. And you don't want, and I am not going to do what I hear other people talk about. You know, Sterling, you imagine I had to go and carry them food. I'm not doing that to anybody, because nobody who needs help needs to feel any worse than they already feel.
Yep.
Right? And I remember when it was Nicole, she was 100% right. The last time when those people staying up there in the Haida Barkas with the family, she gave us the information. So you have people, and yet,
yeah,
how much time do people like her be recognized? Because she's not political. That's one thing about her. She doesn't play politics. She doesn't kiss up around anybody. She doesn't look any favors from anybody, but she gives.
Yeah.
So these are the type of people that genuinely care. But you hear all you hear about is the bad ones. You don't hear about the good ones. You hear about the good fathers in this country? Eh?
No, let's talk about that now. I know you got to push off. We'll take a break. You come back and you can wrap it for us.
No problem.
All right. Stay tuned, please, for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
As people prepare to ring in the new year, the annual Hope for Today Park and Ride is offering an option for those who've had too much to drink and need a ride home. Hope for Today operates a halfway house program for recovering addicts. If you need a safe ride home on New Year's Eve, you can call Brent at 928-9099 or Ivan at 547-1869. You can also call if you have any questions about how it works. In international news, Sheikh Hasina, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, has rejected complaints that her supporters perpetuated fraud in Sunday's elections. She was speaking as her alliance won a landslide victory. Opposition supporters and media say her ballot boxes were tampered with. Hundreds of rescue workers raced bitterly cold weather in Russia's Ural Mountains today as they searched for survivors from a partially collapsed apartment building where at least 4 people died. The collapse was apparently triggered by a gas leak. Dozens of people are still missing. Russia's domestic security agency said today it has arrested a U.S. citizen on espionage charges. The Federal Security Service, or FSB, the top KGB successor agency, said Paul Whelan was detained in Moscow on Friday. The agency said in a statement today he was caught during a, quote, espionage operation, but did not provide any details. Spying charges carry a prison sentence of up to 20 years in Russia. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for sharing with us. Thanks for being, not only the stalwarts, but hopefully the good stewards in our community. And thanks for the excellent company of MLA and Deputy Speaker Mr. Bernie Bush. We could spend the afternoon together, but you probably got better people to be with besides me, huh?
No, better looking people.
You see your friends, man?
your hair is too long. You need to learn to cut your hair.
Yeah, that's why I was telling my barber earlier,
And maybe lose a bet and have to grow a beard for 6 months.
I don't think so. Oh, no.
But Sterling, I would like to end off on a kind of a positive note. When I came here today, I had no intentions, but when the listening public calls in, you have to address what they want you to address. Mm-hmm. But I realized that this year has been a most challenging year for a lot of us Caymanians. Many of us lost our homes. A lot of us lost our jobs. And a lot of us lost loved ones. And that's never easy, losing someone that you love. And like myself, there was a lot of people who were confronted with health problems. And it is my hope and prayer for 2019 that it will be a much more productive and rewarding year for everyone, but especially us Caymanians. We need to feel like something is going our way. I know that many decisions were made across this country, private, public, everywhere, by leaders that was unpopular. And there were some decisions that have not been addressed that are threatening the very fabric of our society, compromising values that our parents and our grandparents have built this country to what it is. Values that we stand for as a people. I will never cease to fight for those values. But I really and truly want our people to help each other. Those of you who have gotten an education, you are not better than those who did not. You are more fortunate. Some of you have adopted an attitude that you think you're better than because you got an education. You're not better. You're more fortunate. Those of you who did not get an education, let us not try to break down those who have got an education. Let us help build them up. And let us try to encourage them to bring us along. Let's take us along. Let us ride this boat together called the Cayman Islands. To those who have come here and gotten your papers, I've repeated this before. You're in the same boat with us called the Cayman Islands. Forget about your neighbor who you knew, where you come from. You don't, when I say forget them, you don't know them, but if you have a chance to give someone a job, try to find a companion and try to train them and treat them with respect. They will stay with you. But when you talk to us like we're dogs or disrespect us, that's not encouraging for us to stay, and you're controlling us and paying us very little. It's two pills that's hard to swallow at the same time. So please, let us do the right thing. Let us look out for each other. And let us not forget, this country was not a success because of banking or because of tourism. This country was a success because God saw people who were God-fearing. And God blessed us to have this success. So let us continue to be God-fearing, be godly, and let us support each other. Let us not break down each other. And if you see someone trying to break it down, bring it to their attention. Ask them, why are you trying to break us down? Not in an argumentative way, in a nice way. Maybe you might touch their conscience someplace and make them do better. But let us support each other. I have been blessed, very, very blessed, to have 7 blocked arteries in our heart and don't even feel bad. To go through 7 bypass heart surgery, still don't feel bad. Have a lung collapse, still don't feel bad. You want to tell me there's not a God? Tell me I'm not blessed. I know I am. I intend to keep on trying to share some of my blessings. So to everyone out there, I have to say thank you to the staff at the Georgetown Emergency Room. I have to say thank you to the Shetty, to Health City, Dr. Benoit and his team. And I want to say to all my friends and the people who supported me and prayed for me, and especially those young people, I want to say thank you all very much, and a big up to my favorite lady, Miss Georgette. Sterling, thank you for having me. Miss Susan, thanks for being a good producer. And do yourself a favor, ma'am, and try to keep some of those criminals that I see coming into your booth out of there, Miss Susan. Thank you all very much. And to the public, God bless you all. Happy 2019. May health and prosperity be your companion. God bless and thank you all very much.
Amen, Mr. Bernier. I hope we get a chat. And let's pause quickly. Susan, give Bernier a chance to exit and we'll chat some more. Stay tuned when we come back. Some open line.
Holidays wouldn't be the same without a little boom from Fireworks Limited. K-Man's biggest firework discount megastore is now open behind Massive Equipment in Industrial Park. Fireworks Limited has a megastore full of new fireworks and offers huge volume discounts. Stock up early and save big with free gifts with every purchase and the biggest variety of products on island. Fireworks Limited is behind Massive in Industrial Park with tons of parking. Open until 6 p.m. every day except Sunday and open until 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Happy holidays. Be responsible this holiday season. Designate a driver or let the Purple Ribbon Bus be your designated driver on New Year's Eve.
This message is brought to you by the National Drug Council, EK Online, Jake Scott, Foster's, Caribbean Engineering, RCIPS, and Radio Cayman.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. And again, thanks to MLA and Deputy Speaker, Mr. Bernie Bush, for sharing some time with us. And as reflect on his parting message. Wow. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm resting right now. But I hope Bernie can still hear me. Because I guess everybody could probably recognize my voice. This is Jamo.
Very famous voice.
I think it is time for everybody to know what Bernie Bush is to this country. Bernie Bush saw in me talent that I didn't see in myself when I graduated from the high school at age 15. And he saw me develop into the man that I am today. And I hope he's hearing, because I wanted to do this while he was still in studio.
Okay.
I really wanted to. But I was on and I didn't get a chance. But I'm hoping that he's still by the radio, that he could hear it. Bernie, you have invested your time and talent into me, and you can see that I am doing the same with the young people that you have done with me. You look for the talent, you find opportunities, and you facilitate. And you watch people grow and mature and then thrive. I do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm passing on what you have passed on to me, and with the hopes that those that I pass it on to will continue to pass this on, because this is the true Caymanian way of caring for your neighbor. And caring, because you didn't have to. I was a little black boy in West Bay. You didn't have to care, but you did. And because of that, I too care. And I feel what Ms. Eldamai was talking about people not caring enough. And I think Cayman Kind is about Cayman care too.
Mm-hmm.
And we had it because we cared for those that were less fortunate. We cared for those that were that was always in need, even when they didn't think so.
Yeah, man.
And I wanted to tell Bernie thanks publicly. And I'm hoping that he can still hear me, and that I say thank you for what you did to me those many years ago when I was going through my teen years and needed that extra guidance.
You know, John Moore,
yeah.
By you sharing that publicly, I think many people reflect that, you know, despite Bernie's jovialness, you know, there's that sincere care for young people in particular, for people in general, but for young people in particular. And I'm acknowledging that he has, you know, been able to hear what you're sharing. And I think from what I can see, it's like one of those rare occasions where you actually see tears in Bernie's eyes, huh? But John, what you saying, I think more of us need to do that, to do what you've done, to continue to invest. You know, you've benefited from someone investing in you. You invested in countless people, and I hope you don't.
Sterling, it is in all of us.
Yes.
You can easily do this. It's just a little extra that you have to do.
Yep.
Sometimes it can be a lot extra. Sometimes you think you just can do this much, and then it requires that much more.
Yep. Well, as I've said to you publicly and privately, you know, that's why I admire what I see in you, that willingness to constantly.
No, but I've seen it modeled for me
exactly
by many mentors, and I've lost many mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking at a tourism conference recently, and I was telling them that in the last 2 years, I personally lost 9 mentors in 2 years.
But Jamu,
and I almost lost Bernie this year too.
Yeah, and that's something that I think that we're not mindful of, that in our lives, and since, you know, I'm not comfortable, despite my role, being public with my own thing, right? But we don't understand how important it is. You shared, you know, the different mentors, not just one, but plural. People who can guide you, can assist you, who can counsel you, who can give you, you know, sometimes a helping hand in all different kind of ways, right? More of us need to reach out. Bernie said something earlier when we were talking about the Bacchus issue, in that there are people, and I hope people didn't misunderstand or fail to hear what he said. People who are more influential than he is, right? He's an elected member of our Legislative Assembly who could make a call, who could say something publicly, and the direction of something is going to go this way because of their influence. Why is it that not more of us are doing that when it's for the greater good? I struggle to understand why we're not doing the right thing.
It's a purpose thing, and I think a lot of people are losing the purpose of which God has shown them that He put them on this planet for.
But do they still even acknowledge God?
Yeah, and I think that is where they move off their purpose. Because if you start to disregard God and what He's put you on earth for, you will lose focus of who you are as a person and what your purpose is in life. And when you are off purpose, you care less. When you start to care less, it is when anything can happen. And I see it happening way too often, where people are starting to just care less, and because they don't care, things go awry, and then they wake up 5 years later and wonder what happened. You lost it 5 years ago.
Yep.
When you stop caring.
But then,
because you choose to not acknowledge God and the purpose on which He put you on this planet for, you too has now lost your zeal. And I get too much calls about people who want, to end this thing and to choose an exit. And they're very young people, and it's disheartening for me. I'm like, if I pour into you, would you see value in yourself? Because, I have other young people that might be eager for me to pour into them. And I'm almost wasting this flash of wisdom if you're thinking of exiting. There's no way of repaying the society or you actually showing up in life before you die.
But John, something you just shared, right? And even to that, we are so careful how we talk about it, right? And I don't think Bernie's gonna mind. Well, you know what? Many of us have those conversations privately about the calls we get and the things, the struggles that we see daily. What are we doing in our society to acknowledge that, whether it's the underemployment or lack of employment, that the qualified Caymanian that has gone off and got some training or has been made redundant, but the very fact that these young people seem aimless and hopeless and despondent and have this sense of despair, what are we doing? And thank God for you and people like you who are, continue to be the beacons, people like Barney who've poured into you and those mentors that you shared. But what are we doing to acknowledge that this is a serious problem across this country and we're ignoring it?
Sterling, I don't know where to start
in
terms of trying to encourage other people to care.
Yeah.
I guess this conversation that we're having now is one way of starting to make an appeal that for 2019, let's get back to caring.
Yeah, man.
Let's get back to looking out for those on your left and your right.
Yeah.
Because all this thing about your brother's keeper, when they go, you were the first one to celebrate, rest in peace and this and that. Listen, it's too late then.
Too late now.
The world has been robbed of the value that this person was to bring to it. Our society has been robbed of the contribution this person was supposed to make. Our society is too small for these kind of losses. We're losing young and old.
Yeah. And we're not, like you said, caring enough. But I'm glad that there are people like you who care privately and publicly, who are champions privately and publicly, and who don't do it for any kind of accolades. But I'm hopeful that people will see that, if we come together, like you shared, that we can make a meaningful difference, man. And for what it's worth, I appreciate it, I recognize it. If I can be of any value to you or to your efforts or to anyone in general, you know to find me, right?
I will.
Yeah,
and I will.
Yeah, man. You keep. All the best to you, John.
Very much to take my call, and I hope that Bernie got to hear what I say. If not, I'll try my best to catch up with him because.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
his contributions in my life meant a lot.
Yeah, man. Well, I thank you for sharing that.
Where it helped mold me to be the man that I am today.
Yeah, man.
And that I pour into not only my children, but every child that comes across my path.
John Boy, you keep pouring into him, boy, and I hope you find that well never runs dry, from which you can get your strength. Blessings to you, my friend.
All right. God bless.
God bless, man. This is what it's about, man. Let's take one more call. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, Miss Susan, and to all our listeners. Raymond Scott here.
Good afternoon, sir. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year. And I would like to extend a very happy and prosperous New Year to everybody in the Cayman Islands, everyone listening to my voice, and all those who have assisted and provided work for me in any form or fashion of help and assistance that has been given to me during the year, and wishing everybody a Happy New Year repeatedly, and all the very best.
Yes, sir.
I know many people listen to me here on the talk shows, and I will continue to provide information, public information. I was just during the holidays, just before Christmas, being the sort of savior of the seas for a sick crew member, a lady on a yacht coming from Grand Cayman going to Cuba, and they got in that bad weather, and she got excessively seasick. Radioed in to any vessel, any station, call was received, and assistance were given, and thanks to Custom Officer Anthony and Lazary, they went out and took the rope from the boat and got them to the mooring, took the sick lady off the boat and brought her ashore. Then I transported her to the Bright Reef Hotel and got arrangements for her to be boarded there, put in there, and get off the sea. It was a severe seasickness, and her husband rode it out on the mooring, and then they sold the boat in Grand Cayman. The boat is down there now. She came down there by plane. She couldn't take it anymore on the sea. She came down by plane to Grand Cayman. He drove the boat, captained the boat back to Grand Cayman. They sold the boat, and they're going to end their sea life like that. With that boat, anyway, they were coming from Guatemala through Panama Canal and was going to Grand Cayman, going to Cuba, and never did end up there. They ended up here and unexpectedly stopped. Anyway, I just want to mention that's one of the most recent ones that I conducted and had that woman brought safely, and thank all those that have worked along with me. Cayman Brac Fire Service, all the firemen there over the years that have responded to my request, and I responded to their request, and we have a very good relationship with the Cayman Brac Fire Service and Customs and Immigration and Marine Department, getting rescue to people, whoever gets in trouble out there, and thank them all for their utmost duties, and wishing everybody a Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Well, Happy New Year to you, and thanks for your continued good work. And maybe others, in light of what you shared, and especially that, very, very compelling appeal and show of gratitude from John Pryor, that we too will find ways that we can step in the gap and do more, to help others. John talked about looking to the left and your right. And as we look to the center and we see the reflection in the mirror, that we are mindful that we can be better, that we can do better, that we are expecting better of ourselves. And as we point fingers at our politicians, if it's because they're not holding up the end of the bargain, well, are we pointing fingers at ourselves to say, well, we elected them? And so are we going to help them to get upskilled and to understand that they need to do the right thing? If not, are we going to step up as potential candidates, get actively involved in the campaigns to elect? Or are we going to accept, the handouts and the other little trappings that we believe come from the office? And before we castigate them, are we prepared to ensure that we step alongside them to move the country forward? And when they step up to say, listen, we need to move the country forward in this direction, maybe champion a particular policy or project, or, perhaps question a particular policy or project, that they're doing it not because it's politically popular, and they may, find some backlash from supporters or other benefactors or other, participants in the political arena. Are we going to stand alongside them because it's the right thing to do? Now, much easier to blame and find fault. Do we have the courage, as Mr. Maker shared? Are we prayerful enough that we look and seek the wisdom in the council? Are we cognizant of our strong history and heritage and our people with great resolve and resilience? are we sufficiently, inclined to include those who come and live and walk amongst us, and to invite them along to this, nation, and to join us in being Caymanian, in developing the Cayman Islands for all of us, not just for the short-term economic benefit. Some of us have seen significant windfalls, even in light of the economic challenges that may have, transpired. But it's not just about the money. But of course, with some sort of financial wherewithal, can you buy the present, pay your bills? Can you pay the school and put food on the table? But rest assured, no amount of money can save us from, that place we all are going to end up, irrespective of what you believe comes after. Now, your vault may be the most decorated, but that's one place we all will end up at some point. So until we get there, what are we doing to make it better? And even more importantly, what legacy are we leaving behind? Not a falsified one that glorifies our actions, but one indeed that makes our families proud. Not just today, but for generations to come. Many of us out there really don't want much because we're too selfish and self-serving. But thankfully, there are more of us out there who very, very willingly, graciously, and very lovingly continue to do great things. And that, I think, is the example. So I trust that the year that has passed, as we celebrate the closure of this year in whatever form or fashion, it'll be safe. But as we look forward to what's come in this 2019, that we're going to make it a very productive one. Not just the financial windfalls that we may find, not just the health, the pursuits, but the kindness and the generosity, the graciousness, but also the sincerity as we move about trying to live and work within our community. Next year seems like a long time away, but really, it's only a matter of hours. So as this day calls our close, let's look very, very seriously about our positive contribution and the year ahead. Until then, my friends, be blessed.
District to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.